This show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings and, of course, to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Hey, welcome to today. We have a special, interesting topic today. We have, of course, our one and only Deandre Anderson going to come teach us about land trust. We always have a lot of questions about this. Me and Anthony, and it was one of our weaknesses. So Anthony hit up Deandre. Is we're going to have a conversation about this just so we can learn more, and then hopefully our audiences can learn more about this as well. It's one of those things where we just don't know everything, and we're always here learning and being students of the game. So Deandre Anderson, and now of course I have Anthony here as well. Anthony will be off camera, but we're gonna have a good conversation no matter what.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you where we're at. I wanted Deandre to hop on here because it's if you're just doing a couple of deals a year, no big deal. People doing them in their own name, LLC, that kind of stuff. But when you start to get a little bit more advanced, you're doing a higher volume of deals, bigger deals, you got to start thinking a lot about defense, right? Because everything that you're doing is out in the open. It's public record. So we wanted to talk a little bit about how to kind of do business a little bit more in stealth mode as you advance. And nobody better that I could think of to talk to about this one than Deandre. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, I appreciate it, man. So land trust, man, exactly what you said. So land trust basically gives you privacy, gives you anonymity. It gives you kind of like that comfort of no one knows who they're really doing business with, as far as your personal name on public records, even your business, right? Because someone searches your business and then they're going to see, oh, Anthony owns that business. But if you have a business and then if your land trust owns that business, then it's the land trust owns the company. So basically you're kind of like a ghost. No one will be able to, I'm not going to say come after you, because anyone can come after you, but they won't be able to just see your name right there. You own, especially if you own land, houses, cars, stuff like that. If your name is on anything personal, you're going to get exposed. So a land trust is basically a way to just take title to property. So it's basically just a sheet of paper. It's not recorded. You don't even have to record it. So, and these documents are legal land trust is legal in all 50 states.
Okay. So legalities, it gives you anonymity. This is where you have a trustee sign your documents, your closing documents for you on your behalf, and you can reassign them as needed based off of whoever it is.
Yeah. So how it works is, you're going to have it's 3 moving parts to a trust. You have the grantor, you have the trustee. And then you have the beneficiary. But when it comes to a land trust, the grantor and the beneficiary are basically the same person. So the grantor is the person that creates the trust. The beneficiary is the one that benefits, is the one that owns the trust. And then the trustee is nothing but the signing person for it. Okay, so your trustee signs all your closing documents. The trustee is the one that goes on title. The trustee has a lot of power because they have your signing power. Now, they don't benefit. They're not entitled to any money. They're not entitled to any interest or dividends, things like that. They're only entitled to what you agree to pay them. So I could say, hey, Daniel, I want you to be my trustee. I'm paying you $50 a month. Right? Your trustee, I want you to think of a trustee as kind of just like an employee for you. And you just kind of direct them to do what you need them to do so you can keep your face and everything clean. And then you have complete control. So you could fire them. You could reassign them. You could do whatever you want with them without their consent because you own the trust. And you basically are the beneficiary. You're going to have your LLC or your name as beneficiary on this trust, on this land trust. All right. And this land trust document is between you and your trustee only. Okay. No one else sees it. Actually, on the land trust agreement, there's actually a statement in there that says the trustee hereby, promises to not reveal who the beneficiaries are. So as long as you have this land trust, no one knows who the beneficiary is. The only way someone can find out who is benefiting from the land trust, right, is if someone gets a court order. They got to get a court order. They got to find the trustee. The trustee has to come to the courts, and then the trustee is going to say the beneficiary is Anthony or Daniel. So the whole purpose of a land trust, you kind of want people thinking twice about, should I come after this person? Is it worth it? Right? Attorney fees and stuff like that. So it discourages people from lawsuits, pursuing anything further, because, what if they do try to come after, land trust, right? And they find the beneficiary, and then it turns out you don't own anything. You don't have anything in your name. You don't have nothing, right? So they wasted a lot of money paying these attorneys for nothing. Versus if your name was on public record, oh man, Anthony, and his business owned, $50 million worth of real estate. We're coming after that guy, So a land trust can put you in a position where it's like, I don't think it's worth coming after these people. It may not be worth my time. So when it comes to that point where, because, it's not if, but when you get sued in any type of business or industry, you just want to make it hard for someone to be like, all right, I'm coming after this person. Like, you want to have them thinking about how much money they got to spend, how much attorneys they have to hire. You want them thinking about how long the process is, and the land trust can basically do all that for you if you have it structured properly.
Okay, man. Yeah, that was a ton of information, bro. So I felt like I kind of grasped it, and that's me that I've been doing land for a long time. So how about let's unpack some of this stuff right now, and let's kind of go one by one. I know if somebody wants to take a deep dive into this with you, they need to check out the Land Flipping Empire, so you can get coaching directly from Deandre and do JV deals with him. But I wanted to say, like, okay, I'm a brand new guy. I just came on board and I got this really hot deal, and I just kind of want to be private. And I've done deals like this in the past where you don't want people to know who was involved on the other side of the transaction for various reasons. So I come to you and I say, hey, man, I have this deal that I want to put together. I just don't want to be on title. And actually, I do have one right now that I'm working on that I kind of don't want to be on title or my LLC. So where do I start? Like, as far as the documents go, should I go to an attorney to get these drafted up? Like, what's kind of the standard first point? And then when you select the beneficiary, where do we find these people? I mean, when you are the beneficiary, when you find a trustee, where do you find them? Is it like an attorney? Like, can you kind of just go piece by piece?
Gotcha. So if you're a new guy saying you want to put a deal together and you want to use a land trust, so obviously the first thing you need is the land trust documents, right? Okay. So number one, you can get the documents from an attorney. Okay, they're going to charge you a whole lot of money for it, and they're going to be offering other services, which that's fine. That's what they do. Or you could buy the documents from me because I sell them. And I've used the land trust in Florida, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, different states. I can't say I use them in all 50, but I use them in a few, and it's roughly everywhere is the same. All right. So you can even find them free online in other places, but you got to vet them. You got to know what you're looking at, things of that nature. So the one that I have, I looked through it, I reviewed it, I got it from an attorney, I walked step by step with an attorney. So I highly advise using the one that I have available. So the first thing, you need the land trust documents because you need to know what's going on. All right. Number two, right, like you said, you need a trustee. All right. So your trustee can be anybody, right? It can be me. It could be your close friend. It could be your uncle, right? Or it could be a actual company. You can have a company as your trustee, and then you could pay them monthly fees or yearly fees, or you could pay them per signature that they sign, per signature. So you can have an agreement with a company and say, hey, I want you to be my trustee. I'll pay you $10 per signature that you sign, right? So you can have different agreements. So attorneys, companies, you can have you can even use another trust as a trust. It's funny because it can go deep. Like you can have another trust as the trustee, right? So it's really, so that's number one, find someone you trust. But we do recommend not picking anyone that's with the same last name as you or someone as close as you, because if you use someone that close or the same last name, it kind of almost defeats the purpose. Like if my last name is Gonzalez and then someone else on there is Gonzalez, and then they look up that person's name, oh man, you're married to this person, right? So it's easier. So you want to use a company or someone who you want to use your trustee. And this is a cool thing, right? Your trustee can be in another state. Your trustee can be in another country. You can have a trustee in Jamaica signing for you for your documents in the United States. Okay.
Let me ask you this, Dre. You said it needs to be somebody that you trust. So what are some of the drawbacks? Like, can this person like sign for you and do some shady stuff, or how does that apply?
So that person can do. So by the way, when you have you're gonna have the land trust document with this person, based on what they can and what they cannot do. If they break any of those rules, you can fire them or remove them immediately without their consent. And it says it in the land trust document. The beneficiary has the right to remove said trustee without the trustee's consent. All right. So if someone, let's say they're doing good business in the beginning, and then you feel like they're starting to do shady stuff, they start getting untrustworthy, then you can immediately remove them by getting a document notarized without their consent, and then you can give it to whoever, you can record it, and then they're no longer your trustee. So as quick as you hire them, you can fire them just as quickly. So you need your trust documents, you need your trustee, and then you also got the third part, which is you, the beneficiary. So now let's just say you're looking at a piece of land you want to close on, right? So now when you send the contract to the seller, right, you're not going to be putting your name, your company on that contract. You're going to be putting the ABC Land Trust, right? ABC Land Trust is the person that's purchasing that property. And then who's going to be signing that contract is your trustee. The trustee, which is the company, the attorney, which is someone you trust, they're signing it. And now the seller signs, the trustee signs. So now you have a executed agreement. You can wholesale that contract. You can buy it, take it in title of a trust. You can do a lease option. You can do whatever you want. But you have the benefit of no one knowing exactly who you are. You have ABC Land Trust, and then you have your trustee that's on the signature. So Anthony's name or Deandre's name is nowhere. My company is nowhere. It won't trace back to me at all. All right.
So they're doing all the documents. One of the things I really like about this is that you can fire them without notice. I guess it gives you a lot of flexibility that you can control the situation. And like one thing, you don't file these documents anywhere. Like that document that you notarize saying they're fired, that's all your own paperwork that you might have to show to title once you're transferring it again or assigning a new trustee, right?
Yep, that's correct. And what Anthony said, some of the drawbacks of the trustee, right? So even though they don't benefit, and they're not entitled to any benefits, right? Since they have the signing power, they can, let's say you bought a property, right? They can refinance your property, right? They can refinance it. They can go and collect rents because they signed the leases. They can get your assignment fees if they sign for it, and then they can put the check in the name of the trustee. So you really got to have somebody you trust, because if they do those things, you can fire them, and then you'll have to, reverse all them things. But those are some of the drawbacks. They have the signing power on behalf of your company. So it has to be a reputable company, a reputable person, and things of that nature. So those are some of the drawbacks. So a land trust is great. Land trusts are great. Companies are great and things of that nature. But there's always going to be pros and cons to everything. In my opinion, with the land trust, the pros outweigh the cons because you're in direct control. It's not like you're giving control to someone and then you're falling asleep, right? You give this person, you're signing, right? And then something's going on, you can fire them. And you set rules. If the trustee does this, they're going to be immediately terminated, et cetera. So you or your family makes the decision, whoever is the beneficiaries. So another thing, you can use land trusts with partnerships. So let's just say me and Anthony are going to be JVing on a deal, right? Anthony's 50% beneficiary. I'm the other 50% beneficiary. We use Daniel's company as our trustee. And then voila. So any proceeds, any rent, any cash out refis is going to be split between both of the beneficiaries. So and you can have you can have 5, 10, you can have multiple beneficiaries, but all of the percentages must come up to 100%. Must equal 100%.
Gotcha.
Oh, dude, yeah, this is magic, man. It opens up a lot of doors. Like I said, we're starting to do a lot of cooler deals. I'll tell you, well, just a quick funny story. We did one deal where the guy that was occupying the property tried to kill the seller.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we bought the property in a trust so we could flip it because we didn't want anything to do with those people. So, yeah, I could see a lot of benefit to using this. So how is it set up? Is it like one trust per piece of property, like kind of like you would do with an LLC, or can one trust handle multiple properties?
So you can have a trust. You can have a trust per property, or you can have the same trust, and then you can have your LLC as a beneficiary. But it really so that when you start getting into that, that's kind of like the question of, do I create an LLC per property, or do I create one LLC and put multiple properties in it? So it's really up to you or your asset protection attorney and your risk tolerance. So obviously, if you have one trust, multiple properties, right, that somebody exposes the trust, they can get access to the equity in those properties, right? Same thing with LLC. If you have one LLC that owns multiple properties, you have somebody breaches the corporate veil, then they get access to all the equity in those properties. So that question is kind of the same with the LLCs and the trust. So you just got to determine what's the best setup for you. The best recommendation is one trust per property, of course, to limit the liability. But then again, it comes with extra costs and things of that nature. All right. But so the benefit, though, of a trust over LLC is, so LLC, it costs you money every year, right? You got filing fees, business licensing fees, whatever. With a land trust, you don't really have those fees. It's just a document, right? So you don't have to pay any extra for it. The only thing you got to pay is if you're paying your trustee, or you got to pay for whatever the beneficiary is. If it's a company, you're paying the dues on that. But a land trust can be cost effective in that way. So you really have to set it up with an asset protection attorney. Like, all right, we're going to have this many trusts. We're going to have 5 properties per trust or 3 properties per trust. So it's really based on how many properties you have, how much volume you're doing, net worth, family situation, whether you have kids. It goes real deep when you're talking about trust. Yeah.
No, I think it's a good conversation. And is there a cost to set this up? And I know the answer, but
there's no cost. There's no cost. The only cost is the land trust documents that you'll pay for if you bought them, or like I said, you can find them free online, which I don't really recommend because you want to get them from someone reputable. But really, a land trust can cost you zero, probably $10, because you got to get the document notarized. And I go to you can go to the UPS store. They charge you $10 for a notary stamp. But if you know a notary that'll do it for free, or you go to the bank, you get notarized for free. So in essence, a land trust can cost you $0.00.
That's good, and you get a lot of benefits to that too. So it shows that the cost can be free, cheap, and the basics of this paperwork, is it super complicated? Where it's a contract, you understand all the basics, or is just once you understand the process of what it is. And I know if you're doing different states, you have to plug in the different addendum for that state. Is it once you understand the basics, it becomes an easy process?
Yeah. So the documents are very general, and I think it's just on each document you just got to change the governing state, it's not really amendment. The amendment is so I use a land trust document. I think it's roughly 10 to 12 pages, and at the end on one of the third to last pages you have the governing state, and you just change that state, and then voila, that's it. I mean, then you can use it for whatever state that you're going to be in. So that's basically how that works.
Gotcha. I think it's such a cool tool. How many land trusts have you done?
I've done so many. I have so many. And you can name it anything you want. I have the Marlboro Circle Land Trust, and then even the thing is, you don't even have to include the land trust in the name. You can just kind of create the name, and it can be anything you want. Some people, they go so deep where they try to name the trust kind of like a scary name, so people wouldn't go after them. It's nuts. But I probably set up over 10 different land trusts, done deals in all of them, assignment fees, took title of the properties, flipped them, multiple land trusts, multiple different trustees, in multiple different situations. I have a buddy. He had the same question about land trust, and he asked me, "Can this work in Tennessee?" I said, "Of course it can." So I did a consultation with him. I gave him the documents. I explained everything I'm explaining here. I explained to him, and now he owns a piece of land in Tennessee in the land trust. He's not on public record. His trustee owns it in the name of a trust, and now he's all the way in Florida. His trustees in Tennessee, the properties in Tennessee. So it's no one knows that he's the one benefiting. He's all the way in Florida. So that's kind of the power of it.
Yeah. Do you know about the Disney story with land trust?
You said a Disney story?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't.
So quick little side story about land trust. This is where I first learned about it. is that Disney back in like the 70s or 80s in Florida, they wanted to expand the Disney World, Disneyland. So they started acquiring properties all around the perimeter, and they used a land trust to do it. So it showed anonymity, because once somebody found out that Disney was buying property to expand, all the prices would have shot up for all the properties they wanted to buy. So they used the land trust, acquire all the properties, and once they owned it all, they tore the houses down and expanded their property.
Yeah, that's really smart, because you got to think about it from a seller perspective, right? If I own a property and I kind of have a small idea that this park is coming, maybe or maybe not, and then I get an offer from this land trust, right? And the thing is, right, let's just say that Disney is the beneficiary, right? They are making these offers and they're writing these contracts under, let's just say, ABC Land Trust 1, ABC Land Trust 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And the only thing they see is the land trust, they see the trustees, but they don't actually see that Disney is the one behind it. So it's really smart about what they did, because like you said, if they found out that Disney was actually doing that, then they would have been like, whoa, I want more money. I don't want just $500,000. I want $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So you buy it in the land trust, you make yourself discreet. That way you don't cause prices to go up, competition. So you can use it for different things. That's actually a really good strategy. And then I know some people, they use land trust for like lease options, right? They use it for lease options, because when you're doing a lease option, you're the sandwich lease options where you're kind of in the middle, right? And they're like, okay, who's the person benefiting from this? Well, the person that's benefiting is the land trust, not a company, not a person, but the land trust.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely a cool thing. I think we'll have to utilize it more. Like I said, I haven't done it yet. It's funny because when I first started real estate, I went to a meetup and a guy came in to teach about land trust, and he was selling his he was up in the old school. He was selling his land trust documents and all that stuff for like $300. So I ended up buying it when I was there. But I still never used it even to this day. I have all the stuff. It was just one of those things where like I never actually went to you buy stuff you never use.
Yeah, if you're gonna use it, just make sure you use it strategically. It's a good tool. And then so you have that side of acquiring properties through trust, buying, wholesaling, refinancing, things of that nature. And then you got the other side of trust, where it's like, all right, I'm trying to go after a trust, and it's really hard to find the person who owns the property. You know what I'm saying? So that's like a whole nother side. Getting in contact with the trustees and their families and the estate owners, and that's a whole nother side.
Yeah. You have any questions, Anthony? I think we covered everything, man. I think we answered all our questions pretty thoroughly.
Yeah. I don't know if Deandre wants to give up the secret sauce, but a question I have personally, we can talk about this off air, but I wanted to know how do we skip trace these, right? So we have all this anonymity in place, and Deandre says he loves going after trust properties, and I wouldn't even know where to start, like to find these people. Like when somebody does have a trust, how do you go after them to find out and see if, hey, you want to sell your property?
Well, it's not really secret sauce, and I'm not going to say I figured it out on accident, but it was on purpose and on accident, but I had to kind of look deep into what I was doing. So I was using a company called Skip Matrix, okay? And I know the guy, he's in the 8-figure wholesale land Discord chat. So when the guy said, give me a shot, when I first used them, I thought the data was pretty good. But when I was looking at the Excel sheets, right, and all the data that he was giving, I wasn't really, so sometimes when you get certain lists, you kind of just stop at a certain point. Like, for example, I'll skip trace the list. We see phone 1, phone 2, phone 3, phone 4. Sometimes it goes up to 10, and then we stop there. What I noticed about this guy's skip tracing is that it went up to all the way to phone 5 or 5, 7, right? Like 7 phone numbers, landlines and cells. And then after that, there was relatives. You got relative 1, relative 2, relative 3, and relatives went all the way up to 10 or whatever. And then after the relatives, I'm like, okay, this can't be the end, right? So you keep going, and then you have associates. So you have associates of the relatives. So it goes from the person you're trying to get in contact with, which it could be any one of those 5 numbers. And then it goes to relatives, which is the family members, and then it goes into, all right, we can't find the family members. Well, here's some people that are associates, right? Possible associates. And that can go up to 20 people, and then neighbors, right? So it's like a layer. It's like, can't get contact with the person, great. Let's try to find their relative. Can't find a relative. Let's try to find an associate, right? Can't find the associate. Let's go out. We have the information of the neighbors. So, and that's why I was always wondering, like, when I was going after these land trusts, revocable trust, any kind of trust, right? I was the first person to get in contact with these people. And I'm just like, wow. I was like the first one to make them an offer, first one to do that. And it almost felt unreal. Like, it made me an offer. I make them an offer. And then we negotiate a little bit, and then I'll end up making like 20, 30,000 on the deal. And then when I look back and I'm like, yo, well, you're the only person that ever contacted me. And then I kind of noticed that all the documents, all like they were all in the trust, right? So this is what I kind of figured. And when I look back and did the data, I found out that my biggest spreads came from people who own properties in land trust or in trust. So I think it's a unique market to go after. If you properly know how to go after them, you got to ask the right questions sometimes, because you're going to say, if you're texting or you're calling an associate or a relative, you can't be like, hey, do you own this property on 123 Main Street? You got to say, no, I'm looking for this I'm looking for the owner of 123 Main Street. They live here. Oh, yeah. That's my cousin. Like, I've got in contact with cousins, uncles, relatives that are 80 years old. Like, I got in contact with a family member that was in the States, and their parents lived all the way in Brazil, and they were the beneficiaries. So that type of data that Skip Matrix kind of gives on the Excel sheets, you got to just look beyond the mobile lines and the landlines. You got to look to relatives, look to associates, look to the neighbors. So it goes deep with the Skip Tracer. It's really on your Skip Tracer provider. But regardless of the fact, you can skip trace a land trust through the mailing address, like most skip trace providers do, but some don't give you all the way to possible associates and neighbors. They just stop at the person sometimes.
No, that's a good tip. It's a good tip for sure.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots and lots of gems right there, man. I think this was a really, really good episode. And I think people might not see how valuable it is until they've been playing the game for a little while. Like our good friend John Alexander has mentioned in the past, is like, maybe you don't want to do everything so publicly. Like I said, now we're starting to do some really, really cool deals. I'm on my way to Dallas to try to lock one up for $4.8 million. Like, I kind of just want to start putting some of this stuff, start tucking things away just so it doesn't look so weird.
John Alexander, I think he teaches I think it's the revocable trust or something like that. So so he has his niche with the revocable trust. I have my niche with the land trust. They're two different things, but they basically do the same thing, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you know there's a difference? See?
Yeah, we got a lot to learn in that area, man. Honestly, yeah. I feel like me and Dan have got a lot of game, but yeah, talking to people like you, people that are out there doing it, they're in the trenches. We're always learning. We're always students of the game. So I know you are too. So yeah, man, this episode was freaking badass.
Yep. Thank you, man. Thank you. Like I said, I hope people learned, took some notes in that one. You're gonna give me the link of where people can get the documents, right?
Yep, I can get that to you.
All right. So they'll be in the link below.
Yeah, if you guys want to get with Dre's doing a lot of numbers. His students are starting to do numbers. So yeah, man, you guys definitely connect with him. He's one of HiveMind's finest. He's one of our biggest affiliates, and he's absolutely crushing it. Super good guy to know, putting up some serious numbers. Like I said, he's a practitioner. He's not just a guru or a coach. He's actually in the game doing it.
There you go. We appreciate you coming on. Please like, subscribe, leave us a review. If you like this episode, go check us out. Appreciate you listening to this next episode. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, we hope you're appreciating this content. One thing that we're doing right now is we've been running a campaign since we started in real estate 3.5 years ago that's produced several leads that have made $100,000 and above. We were about to shut that campaign down so that we can start to focus on $1 million land deals, but we're gonna go ahead and open it up to the public. The program is called Hive Leads. So we're gonna provide those leads that we were getting passively, and the way that it works is that you get a text message right on your cell phone when the seller fills out the form on our website. You immediately call them, and it's somebody that's interested in selling their property right away. We're opening that up to the general public. We're still working on pricing. If you're interested, fill out the form below this video, and we will reach out to you and see if you're a fit for our program.
The show is sponsored by The List Guys. Do you need more leads in your local or virtual market? 1 in 10 small businesses don't invest in any kind of marketing. The List Guys have over 35 plus list types to choose from, and you can mix and match any list or criteria. We also use the skip trace list and provide up to 7 numbers and email addresses. Every list you purchase will be scrubbed against previous purchases. The List Guys are here to save you time. Contact the List Guys today at www.onelistguys.com. That's www.1listguys.com.